What up, y'all? It's FortWorthFabian, Big Boss Fable. I'm back with a video for the channel, man. I'm actually doing a reaction to ABC News. They dropped this segment 12 days ago. It's called Tone Death, Loss in Hip Hop, Nightline. So the mothers of slain rappers and rapper G Herbo talk about grief, trauma, why gun violence deaths are so prevalent in the rap community. Now, a lot of people already got their say-so about rap, hip-hop in general. You know, the whole stigma's tied to it, that it's just negative music, that it's just about violence, degrading women, XYZ. A lot of people got a lot to say about it. And I think it's probably one of the most unrelatable genres, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a subsect of of minorities, really. I mean, of course, we have hip-hop being as diverse as possible nowadays, but the origins of it is from pretty much the urban community. So people already naturally look down upon the urban community, the less fortunate. That's just the way the world works, you know, naturally. So I already think there's a stigma tied to it. They're already pointing a finger at it. And obviously nobody wants to see violence within the community. So it's another way to just push blame. You know what I mean? Not to say that it's okay, but I mean, if these kids are growing up in the lifestyle, it's kind of like, you know, you can take any kid anywhere, put him in a certain environment. He's going to grow up in that environment, adapting and adjusting to it. Whether you live in a white picket fence community or you live in inner city communities, you know what I mean? So everybody's dealt the coin. Now there's always that follow-up. Oh, you choose to make your choices and decisions. That's very correct. But a lot of people are forced into choices and decisions dependent on their environment. Now, to each their own on how somebody would dictate what choice to make and if it's the best choice to make. But some kids have to make certain choices, whether it's to protect their families, protect their own livelihood, their lives, whatever it may be. So, you know what I mean? There's a lot of death tying into hip hop, and especially more recently with the new generation. Violence has only increased. So with that being said, it's transitioned over into the music as well. But let's see what ABC got to say.
Police close off Las Vegas Boulevard as Tupac Shakur is rushed to the hospital.
Violence, as American as apple pie.
Police say it was a large gun that was used due to the size of the bullet holes.
Hip-hop reflects that.
It's like a beef between the East and the West Coast.
When Pac died, I just couldn't believe it because I thought Pac was Superman.
He sold about 20 million albums, one of the defining artists of hardcore gangsta rap.
We're still reeling from Tupac's death.
Notorious Big, B.I.G., a notorious rap singer, was shot and killed.
It all felt very familiar, even though, you know, I didn't know Big. It felt like I knew him. And when he passed, it was just this sadness, you know what I'm saying? I definitely, like, shed a tear.
Hip-hop fans will forever remember those 90s shootings of Tupac and Biggie, two figures whose influence on the culture would inspire generations to come.
The deaths of Biggie and Tupac were the first prominent gun violence deaths in hip-hop.
Hip-hop.
Facts. And I was going to say, it's like, it was so minimal back then. It was, I want to say it was mainstreamed, or the focus was put on it in terms of from a popular perspective, right? Because Tupac, Biggie, the biggest rappers at that point in time. But nowadays, you're seeing all types of artists, big or small, getting killed. Whether, I mean, of course, it's gun violence. Of course, you got overdose. You know, whether it's dipping and dabbling in drugs, whatever it is. But yeah, I think the first popularized version of it that we got was from the biggest rappers in the game at that point in time. So I think it kind of distanced it from what is happening now, because now it's different. Now it's just the culture and the environment. Not to say the streets weren't the streets back then. That's not what I'm saying. There's still violence. Violence has been here since the beginning of time, before hip hop. So with that being said, it's just like, I think it's just, today is different. It's completely merged. Back then was like, it was put on a spectacle because it's Biggie and Pac. But nowadays it's normal for you to be targeted as a rapper.
Hip-hop does not exist in a vacuum. There's all of this context. It's a part of this larger American culture and landscape.
More than 25 years later, rappers often remain the victims of gun violence, leaving behind not only their music, but family members trying to make sense of their senseless deaths.
Facts.
A XXL magazine report found that since the deaths of Tupac and Biggie, more than 90 rappers have died from gun violence. Many of their cases remain unsolved.
I think it's really interesting with these younger rappers specifically, usually before they hit the age of 30, They've made pioneering influences in hip-hop take off from Migos, PNB Rock. They pass
Pop
so
Smoke,
quickly,
X.
the shock value of that affects the human psyche.
Again, that happens every day
Facts,
in our neighborhoods.
bruh. That's the thing. It's funny how, like, I mean, it's not funny. That's the wrong word to use in this type of conversation. But it's like, to her point, though, a lot of these kids is coming into the game and accomplishing things a 30-plus-year-old rappers have never done. But that's the nature of today in the society, to where technology, we have all these advances. Kids are getting things quicker. They're able to kind of manifest quicker. They're able to do things at a rapid rate now that we have such accessibility to technology, right? And I think that's why you see younger stars, kids blowing up 15, 16, because you can go viral on the internet and become a star tomorrow. But it's crazy to see the day and age. Like, kids have always been getting, back in the day, hip hop, you was a certain age to where you was really getting it. It was like the older game, you know, maybe 20s to 30s. Nowadays, it's like 15 to 18, 15 to 20, you really getting into the game that early. You know what I mean? So it's a completely different game.
You know what I'm saying? To countless, just nameless young men and young women. So it's not a hip hop problem.
From a grieving standpoint, a mother never gets over losing a child, like ever, no matter how long. I think the longer it goes, the worse it gets.
I thought I had a handle on it. I think for something like this, it's forever.
R.I.P. Pop Smoke, man. Canarsie.
Audrey Jackson's photo album holds some of her last personal memories with her son before he died, a victim of gun violence.
Bashar Jackson is my son. My son was loving. My son was challenging. My son was a seeker.
Pop Smoke, son of Audrey and Greg Jackson and Brooklyn's own, was known to the world as the voice behind platinum-selling hits like Welcome to the Party.
Baby, welcome to the party.
I'm getting chills right now, bruh. Tell y'all, man.
And the viral track Dior.
Dior. It's my dog right here, man.
Many praised him as the next big hip-hop star, the
Facts.
artist who would bring New York rap back to the forefront.
This dude, bruh, if you don't know, now you know. This is Pop Smoke, man. And I'm a forever try to keep his name alive, forever try to tell people, oh, this was the next GOAT. I'm always champion Pop Smoke, RP, you know what I mean? I'm always going to champion XXXTentacion. I'm always going to champion Juice WRLD. I'm always going to champion Mac Miller. I'm always going to champion Nipsey Hussle. These guys, you know what I mean, came in, and I'm always going to champion Fredo Santana. Guys like this came in and did their thing from different perspectives. You got guys like Pop Smoke who had unlimited potential from a creative and artistic perspective. Same with XXXTentacion, Juice WRLD, these kind of guys, Mac Miller. But then you got other artists who just, you know, they're pretty much making waves. They're pretty much doing things from a community aspect, you know, very influential speakers like Nipsey Hussle, things like that. Great artists too, but a lot of his philanthropy kind of bled over into what he was doing. You know, he was the artist, mogul, entrepreneur, philanthropist type, to where a lot of people was like, he inspired to give back to the community. But then lo and behold, he gets killed in his own community. You know what I mean? It's kind of those type of things to where it's like, bruh, you try to do good and you still get killed by the people that you're trying to do good for and show love to. But Pop Smoke, man, I'm telling y'all, I always say this to my friends too, and they be like, what did you talk about? Bruh would have been the biggest rap artist, if not kind of climbing the tier from an artist perspective that we have seen since Drake, is what I'm trying to say. Me personally, I think the two phenoms that have passed away, and I'm talking about in terms of potential and height of career, like Pop Smoke was literally the next 50 Cent. If you remember how 50 Cent came in the game, he came into the game changing it, bringing back masculinity, toughness. You know, nowadays hip hop culture is super feminized. You know what I mean? But it's like nobody wants to be a man no more. People trying to be more flamboyant. But I always saluted Pop for that. You know what I mean? But I do believe him and XXX would have been, I'm telling y'all, creating waves in the industry right now. I'm talking about tidal waves, bruh.
But he'd never see 11 of his songs go platinum or accept his 5 Billboard awards.
I don't know that they're better days. I just think they're just days, you know. maybe the better days in something like that is the day when I feel it, but it's not a loss, it's just a remembering.
On February 19th, 2020, Pop Smoke died at just 20 years old. That same week, his mixtape, Meet the Woo Volume 2, debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200 chart.
Can you tell me just what the name even Pop Smoke means to
Meet
you?
the Woo. She said what?
The Woo Volume 2 debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200 chart.
Can you tell me just what the name even Pop Smoke means to you?
Pop Smoke. That's a persona that he created for one of the phases of his life's work. That persona was always supposed to live, but that wasn't going to be the be-all and end-all of who he came here to be.
Facts.
So Pop Smoke is the artist, you know, the sweet talker, the charmer. Sometimes I can't be Pop Smoke's mom. I'll always be Rashard's mommy.
It's a call Audrey will never forget. The voice on the other line, Shiv, an A&R rep from Pop Smoke's label.
It didn't hit until I actually saw his body, which was a few days in. I mean, intellectually I understood. Mm-hmm. And that kind of still is where I am. You know, intellectually I understand it. The rest of me hasn't.
4 suspects, including 2 minors, were charged with murder.
I was never angry at that 14-year-old or the 17 and 16-year-old. I was never angry at them. Can't hate that little boy.
Why not?
Because his mom didn't raise him to go kill Pop Smoke. She was probably a mother having issues trying to raise a 14-year-old boy, wherever it is, and just not being able to do it.
This is America. This is not hip-hop, right? And that cannot continue to be the thing that we point the finger to. We need to have systemic change to change the communities that people are living in. And that is when we will see change in hip-hop culture itself.
It's painful, it's annoying, it's sad, especially if they're the young men that, that I've met. And you're looking forward to the next conversation because they hold a story, of my son. And so now they're gone. And when is it going to stop?
She was talking about his homie.
Our thanks to Mona.
That's crazy, bro.
Tone Deaf, Loss, and Hip Hop is now streaming on Hulu.
RP to the gang, man. We got, bro, these are rappers from back in the day, bro. You got even Dollar right here. Pop Smoke, Takeoff, X, PMB, Biggie. Who we got over here, though? King Von. You can't see my things covering up King Von. Is this Chinks Drugs, Young Dolph, man? I couldn't see. There's so many rappers, bruh. Pac, bro, I forgot about Chinks, man. I forgot about Dolph. RP Dolph, man. Just being killed for no reason, bruh. No reason, man. This is wild. This is wild, man. This is just crazy to me. RP to all the fallen soldiers, man. A lot of these killings were just senseless. A lot of talent in this room too. A lot of talent. But this is life, and I think that's the best way she put it. This America, bro. This is the world we live in. I couldn't even just say it's hip hop, because if you look around, the school shootings, just craziness, madness happening, and honestly speaking, everything sounds good in terms of we can start here. Here's a starting point, but to be grim, I think it's too deep of a hole that's been dug. You know what I mean? All we can do is really just cope with it at this point in time and try to do our best to initiate, certain maybe restrictions, things that we could do to put in order for more prevention. But come on, man. Let's keep it a buck. It's gonna get worse before it get better. You know what I mean? And that's just biblical. So with that being said, man, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on Instagram, Twitter. FortWorthFabian, man, it's the road to 1 million subscribers, man. Peace, love, prosperity, everybody rocking with the channel. RP to all the ones lost, man. Condolences to all the families, friends. You know what I mean? Yeah, everybody, God bless. Stay safe out here, man. We'll catch y'all. Peace.